What's up, y'all? This is John, Mike, and Caleb back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. Tonight we are joined by Connor O'Gara, so that means it's like a week or two before week zero because we're doing this conference championship predictions, the core four, and then I added, if we have time, the who we think the highest ranked group of five championship game participants will be.
Basically, the ones fighting for that last playoff spot.
Right. And I think that probably all four of us have the same two teams. Just,
Probably. You guys want to just get that over with now? I got Boise State. Big Sire Gaines guy. Ashton Genty, the post Ashton Genty era, looking pretty good. Sire Gaines, keep that name in mind. Could become a household name in college football. I think they're like fourth in the country in percentage of returning production as well. I think they're going to go into South Bend and beat Notre Dame. That's like one of my bold predictions for the preseason. So yeah, Boise State, group of five rep.
I also have Boise State, but spoiler alert, they are not the only group of five rep I have in the playoff. One of the conferences gets an 8-4 champion, and we end up with Boise State and Tulane. That's kind of my bold out there prediction.
Dang. John Summerall, do a little preamble to his time at Kentucky, just leads Tulane to a playoff game. That would actually probably complicate things a lot.
Yeah. I wonder how quickly the rules would change if something like that happened.
all right, Mike, who do you have?
Yeah, I had to be think outside the box a little bit, but I actually went with UTSA, trying to be the smartest guy in the room, over Boise and UNLV. I mean, like you guys talked about with like Boise, obviously Mad Dog is back at quarterback, Ashton Genty's gone, but obviously he has a replacement there. But I just have to get this in here, but. Alex Orchie's at UNLV, but when has an Orchie ever turned out well in Vegas? I don't know.
That was good.
Ironically,
Yeah.
I actually have that being a fantastic orgy in Vegas and Dan Mullen enjoying it all the way to the playoff.
That's good because Dan Mullen hasn't enjoyed anything since 2021. So.
Yeah, I
That's not
think...
true. That's actually not true. Dan Mullen has lived a great life for the last 3 years.
That's fair. Living on that buyout money will get you.
Yes, 100. He got the $12 million. Lives on Lake Oconee right there in Georgia, and he is living for the last 3 years. His life for 8 months was occasional radio hit, College Football Live. Oh, I want to go to Europe. Oh, I want to go on my brother's boat. He's even smart enough not to have his own boat.
You never want to be with the guy with the boat. You want to be the guy with a friend with a boat.
And he is that guy. And he just did whatever he wanted. And he lived the best life ever. Like he came on the show before the 23 season. I got him for an hour. I was like, what time you got to be at the road by today? He's like, what do I have to do? Like I just got back from Europe last week. The season starts in a month. It was like David Wallace on that episode of The Office when Michael goes to his house and they sit in the hot tub with, Michael's in full t-shirt and David Wallace is like, oh, I've got a doctor's appointment next week. Like that's what it was like with Dan Mullen. So he has enjoyed life the last 3 years. I can confirm that. But yeah, it's been maybe not from a football standpoint.
Speaking of that, not to get off the rails, have y'all seen the video going around of Ed Orgeron in the club? I feel like he's shirtless, but I don't remember.
It was a wedding, right?
It would have been funny if it was a club, but still, just living the dream.
They played neck for him. It was beautiful.
I've talked about this before. I have like 3 book ideas that I would like to pursue when I ever get the time, and one of them is just to follow the life of a coach with an 8-figure buyout. And I've gotten to know Jeff Collins a little bit, who had that buyout at Georgia Tech and confirmed he has lived a very good life since then. It's just like got to go on vacation. He just took the job at South Carolina and he's going to be, like living in Columbia. But his family's got a really good life back in Chapel Hill. His daughter's got a horse and they've got like a bunch of land that they can live on. And they got an ideal situation from that buyout. 3 years at Georgia Tech and just kind of in and out and got paid handsomely. And he lived a really good life that year that he just took away from college football. And what was that? Yeah, that would have been 23 because then he was UNC defense coordinator last year. But just something to keep in mind for those that like to talk about college football, the life of a buyout coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Dan Mullen and UNLV. No, Connor, actually, I lost this bet to you in 2020 about Florida having a good offense with like 3 stars and 2 legit players, and that's pretty much what he's done his entire career is have a really good offense with a lot less talent than most other teams are dealing with. But this time he's doing it against a lot less competition than the SEC, and especially the SEC West from Mississippi State standpoint. I I have faith in Dan Mullen, and I never thought I would say that out loud.
I love Mullen. I think he's schematically, if his ego wasn't what it is, he would have been an offensive coordinator and done like kind of what Gus Malzahn is attempting to do now at Florida State, which I'm sure that'll go great. But he would have done that, and he could have done that at any school in America. Like he could have gone to Alabama and been an offensive coordinator when they were trying to hire Ryan Grubb a few years ago. But his ego is that he wants to run a program. The problem is that he just doesn't want to recruit at that same sort of level in this day and age. So it's a bit of an issue, but I'll give him till year 2. I don't like the roster as much year 1. I think they're like bottom 10 in the country in percentage of returning production post Barry Odom era there. But I would never rule it out with Dan Mullen having lesser talent. He's shown us he can do that so many times.
I will say in this era of college football, the recruiting comes down to the color green a lot more now, and maybe you don't have to do as much work as a coach.
And
True.
Very few cities on earth have more money than Vegas. And I know Connor's going to give me a lot of flack for not pronouncing it right. But Guy Fieri is
I thought you were going to say that.
grad. Look, for whatever reason, R's in other languages or accents or dialects, I can't do it. Like I can't roll my R's.
No,
I can speak
can't either.
Spanish, and I can not necessarily have a conversation, but if I get dropped in the middle of a Spanish-speaking country, I can get around. You know what I mean? Cannot roll my R's.
Fee Eddie. It's just the word fee and the name Eddie. That's all it is.
Little humble brag here. One of my friends owns a restaurant that he's been at for Triple D, and he doesn't care how you pronounce it. So
I know that's true. Good point. He is the man, and if he is lining the pockets of that UNLV roster, that's a game changer. That's, as he would say, that's out of bounds.
And NIL part is just like, hey, once a week, guy's gonna cook for us. Sold. I'm in. What up? That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing before we get into the first conference, Mike has something to say.
All right. So last year, you kind of flamed us for our Florida State take.
I knew that was going to come up, and I'm ready to. I'm ready to own it. I'm ready to own it. Like we're.
Please give us our flowers. Thank you.
You deserve them. I didn't want to be talked into being down on Florida State because of the bowl game performance, but this is a much different roster. Mike Norvell has recruited the portal extremely well. He got Jared Verse out of University of Albany. Like this dude can pluck talent out of little pockets and just make it work. And my God, did that not work? Do you know how hard it is to regress by 11 games? It's so hard, and he did it. It's an unbelievable feat. It really is. And I have so like one of the little traditions that I developed last season was I would I usually like on a fall Saturday I take my daughter to like to the playground or gymnastics or something like that until noon, and then pretty much from like noon until she goes to bed. Like my wife is going to be watching her while I watch games, obviously. And one of the things I would do, I would take her to the park, and there was a diehard Florida State fan who would always be at the park on Saturday morning, same exact time. And my God, the conversations we had last year were so depressing. So depressing. Like, oh, DJU, like, it doesn't really look like he's clicking the same way it did at Oregon State, but, it'll still make like a bowl game. It'll be like, a reset year. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. Will they win they're going to win a game. Like, they're probably going to win a game at some point, right? And that was the team that I said was going to get a first round bye and win the ACC. So look, hand up, egg on my face, flowers in your guys' faces. Nobody should listen to me or anything I have to say.
No. Okay. You're right most of the time. I will readily admit that. we're like Alex Jones, right? You know,
There's little kernels of truth in what we say, but we just
no, I
throwing
mean
darts against the wall.
like 55% of the time we're right, and we're gonna make sure you know about it. But when we're wrong, we're the dumbest people on the planet.
Look, we're all going to be wrong.
Yeah.
It's just how do we come across as we're being wrong? I'd like to think my only defense is that I at least sounded smart when I could tell you where Jared Verse went to college before he went to Florida State. And upstate New York is a very underrated region of the country, so I always love talking about it. And yeah, look, did not come off as my best prediction. Maybe the single worst prediction I've ever had at least for a record. So it's going to be tough to top that this year. But if Mike Norvell can regress by 11 wins, I guess anything is possible.
Um, two two book ideas since you were talking about it a minute ago. The Downfall of Florida State again. Like make sure again is in the title because
The titles just do
Boys.
something.
they do this every like they look so good and they're like we should make the playoff or they do win a title and then it's like what you guys you it's one of those we used to be a society moments like what it's a mountain not a cliff how'd you make it this far down so quick.
It's hard to do. It really is. And the book cover would just be, I already know what it is. It's the Martin Luther King tomahawk chop that they did circa 2019, the Do Something era. If you don't remember what that is, look it up. The internet will never forget it. It's one of my favorite things that's ever happened in the history of college football. And that was the peak of they don't know what they're doing. And for them to go like that, oh, my bad, hit the mic. For them to go like that and then that in that time frame, it's borderline impossible, and they're just finding new ways to do these things.
And then if you ever get around to doing your cloud podcast or book, I have I have I think I texted you this shortly after you said that and people started to roast you for it. I'm also a cloud appreciator. I have
Nice.
pictures that I took going over the bridge today in Savannah.
Nice cumulonimbus enjoyer.
Oh, the best.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh.
You know what, Connor? I'm going to text you these pictures because they're good.
I'm here for it. I saw one yesterday, and I said, I kid you not. Or we're driving home from swim lessons, and I saw a cloud. I'm like, Lauren, if I had a cloud blog, that would be on it. That would that one. Look at the top of that thing right there. She's like, I'm driving. What are you doing? Clouds are great.
I may or may not have taken these while driving because I was, they were like
When
good.
one pops up, pops up. Come on, you bust out the phone. It's obvious.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the ACC. Starting alphabetically.
Speaking of Florida State, anybody picking Florida State? No.
Picking them to what?
I don't even know if I'd pick them to make a bowl game. If I'm being entirely honest. So that's.
Yeah.
I haven't gone through the schedule, but
yes, I haven't done my Florida State helmet schedule this year, so.
Home versus Bama week 1.
All right, so probably not. Oh, and they do have Tommy
right.
Castellanos.
Oh yeah.
We'll
see.
He is, he's not thick enough to run his mouth the way he does, because he's gonna get hit and get hit hard.
Yeah, he's the Scrappy Doo of college football.
Yeah.
He's
Bryce Young with less arm talent, like stature.
Oh, come on. Don't put Bryce in that category. Dude got
I'm
benched
talking
at
about
Boston
stature.
College.
I'm talking about stature.
Yeah. You get a different understanding of someone when you stand next to them. And Bryce is weird because he's a little bit more wiry. Like I thought he'd be a little bit shorter than he was, and he kind of has a little bit more, like he's just thin, like he's very thin but wiry, and you could tell, okay, legit concerns about his size. If you're thicker, I don't know, like Diego Pavi is thick, he's a wrestler, like he's got the neck and whatnot, so you don't really question that quite as much with him. But I don't really know how to dissect his size. Oh, I'm getting these texts from memory. I'm getting cloud texts coming in. I gotta look at these. But yeah, Florida State not getting to a bowl game again, and then paying, was it $55 million to fire Mike Norvell, and Gus Malzahn just has to get a new job. Would not surprise me. Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah. I had a thought and just completely lost it.
Went up in the
These are nice
clouds.
clouds, Emery. These are nice.
I was going over one of the tall bridges in Savannah on my way home. Kelsey was bartending at the Catholic bar downtown tonight, so I'm gonna go get some free drinks and then head home. But I was like,
Can we-
man, we're gonna have Connor on the pod tonight. I was like, nice clouds, taking some cloud pictures.
Can we make a meme, someone for the social media of Donkey from Shrek doing the "That's a nice boulder" bit, but change it to cloud and put Connor's face on it?
That's gonna be one of the memes for this episode. Is that's a nice cloud.
Tell me that if people still go to bookstores anymore? I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
You're asking the wrong guys.
Yeah. Like you go for the coffee smell.
Yeah.
Just kind of look around, you flip
I
through some
read
books. Yeah, like you read books, but you don't go to a bookstore, right?
I don't know if we have one in Savannah. Like, all right,
We've
Exactly.
got a cool
We
one
do.
in Augusta.
we have like
Okay.
2 used bookstores on the side of town where, as someone with our complexion, we have like 4 hours to go throughout the day.
It's my side of town.
It is.
We got a cool one downtown that has like a staircase up and there's hammocks and stuff hanging out. I mean,
Oh,
it's
cool.
the most hipster bookstore I've ever seen in my life, but it's a cozy spot.
That would be a good place then. If you just saw a book with just elite pictures of clouds, you're thumbing through that book.
Yeah,
You're gonna
absolutely.
look through it. You're like, oh dang, look at this one. Oh
That's
man, you're not putting that book down.
It's right
No
next to the book with the "Do Something" tomahawk chop on it. So yeah,
Exactly.
Every time-
Exactly.
I
Great
do a lot
call.
of driving for work, and every time I'm driving down the interstate and look up and see Toy Story clouds, I
Hmm.
think those are perfect clouds. And everybody knows. Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it's not even a question. Toy Story clouds are a thing. But every time
They're
I'm
the best
driving down the
ones.
interstate and see them, I'm like, those are perfect. Can't get better.
So Connor, who you picking to win the ACC?
Yeah. Oh, ACC. Here's the better question: is anybody not picking Clemson?
No.
I
don't think
definitely.
so.
picked
We're all
Clemson.
on the Clemson bandwagon.
Oh, all right. This is
Yeah.
just a Clemson podcast. Look, they have a lot of things working in their favor to suggest this will be their best season of the 2020s, and I would even include 2020 in that. The fact that they were able to get Tom Allen from Penn State was huge, kind of the anti-Dabo type move, but he's been willing to do more of that. The Garrett Riley hire a couple of years ago, that really bodes well. The fact that they have 2, first-round guys on the defensive line, they finally figured out their receiver room. Cade Klubnik was playing his best ball down the stretch. It's really progressed throughout his career. All these things are working in their favor, and I am not going to push back on someone saying Clemson should run away with the ACC. The only thing that I keep in mind for that conversation, do people forget that Louisville just kind of punched them in the mouth in their own place
Right.
last year?
They tend to do that.
If we are anti-Louisville right now, we
Really?
tried
Why is that?
all summer to get a Louisville podcast or journalist or really anyone that talks professionally about the program on, because they were one of our Puncher's Chance teams. And not only did we not get anyone on after, I don't know, reaching out to 12 different people and organizations, we got 0 responses. So birds with teeth, not about it.
Jeff Brom's a good coach, though.
Oh no,
Yeah,
they were my
that's-
team.
yeah.
If for Puncher's Chance, like I thought they were going to be good this year, but no, we're anti birds with teeth.
Miller Moss, reach out to him. What's he up to?
I don't know, probably something similar to me and drinking bourbon.
One in Kentucky.
This is true.
He does seem like
This
a
is true.
bourbon guy.
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
definitely see that.
But yeah, I've got another thing Clemson's got going for them. Even if they didn't have a super experienced and talented quarterback and a great roster behind them and experienced coaches who have been in the big games before, they have, and I'm going to say it, they have kind of tenure in the top of college football right now in a similar way to Alabama used to, and I guess still does because they haven't fallen off yet, where, it doesn't matter what you look at roster-wise from them. Even if you think it's the worst roster they've had in 10 years, they're going to find a way to be towards the top of the conversation because that's just who they are at this point. They've been there before. They know how to win. And Clemson's got all of this other stuff working for them. So to me, it all just seemed like a no-brainer.
The
Right.
wildest ACC stat is that Clemson. So Clemson this year, everybody's kind of picking them to be able to like win at least one playoff game, right?
Yeah.
And I've brought this up on the pod a lot, but it's wild that the first half of the decade happened, and we're still asking this question of when will the ACC win a New Year's Six or playoff game in the 2020s? Because it is yet to happen.
You're right.
That's
Hmm.
that's hard to do. It's really
Yeah.
hard to. You talk about it, Florida State 11-win regression. I mean, that's how are they
Wait, I thought
so
Florida
bad at
State.
these games?
I thought Florida State went undefeated. They keep
Unco-
selling all that
unconquered.
Hey, in the
unconquered.
2020s, he's saying. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, like they actually the state of Florida has license plates that say unconquered on them for Florida State.
Really?
I saw one like a week ago. Like an actual official state of Florida State license plate that says unconquered.
For the record, this was exactly why we said they weren't going to be any good last year.
That's probably had I known that. I mean, that would have changed everything. I have Florida State fans that live in my subdivision here. I could just walk down the street, look at their license plate, and see if they've got anything on there. Next time we take a little walk in the neighborhood, I'm gonna take a peek and unconquered.
Unless
I'll take a
somebody
picture if there is.
made a fake, because I saw this on the back of a car driving to Charlotte a few weeks ago. It's a Florida license plate, and like I said, unless it was a good fake, and if so, like, tell me who your fake guy is in case I need one.
Maybe we should all just have unconquered license plates,
Here we go.
regardless of what we've done with our lives. Just
Yeah.
hey, never lost.
I am unconquered.
I'm still running around with a sticker on my tag from 2021 and haven't been pulled over yet. So
Dang.
Wow.
I
Probably
paid
should
Well,
have
you
said
only-
that out loud on a podcast. The
I
world
tell
Seriously.
people all the time, I've paid for it. I just lost the sticker.
That should be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run my tag. It's paid for. I just have lost the sticker for 4 years in a row.
Hey, you got it.
All right.
right.
Mike, you want to go?
All right, so obviously I have Clemson, but my runner-up is Georgia Tech, and I think John's on kind of the same wavelength as I am on that. I think it's going to be a rematch from Week 3. Tech might upset Clemson at historic Mark Richt Field at Bobby Dodd Stadium in the first matchup, I think Week 3. And realistically, Tech can probably get to the ACC championship game with 2 or 3 losses, probably 2 more than likely. But and there's not really much to say about Clemson, but just to kind of poo-poo Miami a little bit, just because
These two.
that's where we're at. They couldn't get to Charlotte last year with Cam Ward, Xavier Restrepo, and Damian Martinez. So like I
Can't forget Arroyo.
yes. So I mean, I don't know. So why would they get there with Carson Beck, who needed generational talents, and Brock Bowers and Mike McConkey to look good? Say that. So yeah, no, I got Clemson over Tech.
And
Kind of blown away that the Miami love is where it's at. And I'm even
Yeah.
I'm open to the idea of Carson Beck not necessarily having like a full-on bounce back, be the quarterback he was in 23 season, but I'm looking at those surroundings going, guys, how did his situation improve? Like
Mhm.
show me the receivers in that room that are going to take over a game. Because I watched CJ Daniels at LSU last year. That guy didn't get into the end zone once, and he was kind of an afterthought. And it's a little bit kind of like what Florida State had last year. And some of the guys that they've been able to bring in that just kind of make you go, wait a minute, did they lose their best receiver to Alabama? Like what's their best returning receiver? Restrepo obviously was their best receiver last year, but just sitting here going like, what am I missing? And is it all just predicated on Carson Beck being like the best version of himself? Because I'm not there with that at all.
Right.
Is Miami this year's Florida State? That's what people are asking, or should be.
Oh man.
all right, maybe to a lesser degree.
Oh yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna be
Yeah, they're not
to the
going
same
2-10.
degree.
It's not gonna happen.
But no, I was actually gonna just give up all of my time in the ACC and ask you what people are thinking, because, and you know what, I'll call this guy out because we've done it a few times this offseason with some of the crazy things he said. Guys in the national media that get paid a lot to talk about college football, like Josh Pate, essentially have called Georgia fans stupid all offseason because we're like, yeah, Carson Beck, without Brock and Ladd, he kind of sucked. And he's like, no, Carson Beck's second or third best quarterback in college football. Like he's leading Miami to the playoff this year. I don't know why you're questioning it. It's like I don't understand because we've seen
We
it
saw it on the field. That's why
without
we're
two of the
questioning.
top 10 pass catchers in the NFL as rookies. We've seen Carson Beck, and it wasn't good. The receivers didn't help, but he
Yeah.
also missed a lot of throws.
They're the only area where they might have an upgrade, and this is one I'll pat myself on the back on a little bit for. They might have an upgraded offensive coordinator. It's going from Bobo, Shannon Dawson. I'm just saying. Cam Ward was great, and Cam Ward did a lot of things that were not necessarily within the scheme, where it's just like buying time, and I'm a gunslinger. I got this. Like I think he's non-problematic Brett Favre. Like that's who Cam Ward was, in my opinion. Like Brett Favre without any of the baggage, and none of like
Which,
the abusing women.
Brett Favre, Hall of Fame player, so without the baggage, hopefully more than one Super Bowl from Cam Ward.
I look.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully, I like Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I really.
He's fine.
I felt bad for Cam Ward that he had that defense that he had to play with, but yeah,
Absolutely.
the notion of Carson Beck just snapping his fingers and being better, I think is heavily weighted on the lesser competition that he's going to face. And if he's put in better spots by an OC who's shown that he can do some really good things, then all right, that's one thing. But are we forgetting like he didn't have time in spring to throw a football too?
Yeah.
He's still working his way back. What's he going to look like physically? Is his throwing motion going to be the same? I don't know. I think Miami's got a lot more questions. I did not have them in the playoff. I did not have them as one of my two contenders in the ACC.
Yeah, I don't. The Miami thing, and with the offensive coordinator conversation, with Bobo, we've only seen him with Carson Beck, who I think we all agree is not the player that we thought he would be.
Yeah, well, not to mention in 2023, Carson Beck and Mike Bobo put up the second most productive offense in Georgia history, behind only 2022.
Now, if
So
in the first month of the season Georgia's offense isn't good, I'm all out on Mike Bobo. Stock is sold. Like I'm going to give him 2 warm-up games, 2 legit games, and after that I'm out. You know,
You're going to give him 5 minutes into the Tennessee game is what you're going to give him.
Yeah. Well, and maybe not. I mean, if we score like 30 against Austin Peay, that's it.
Well, we're doing a watch party for the Tennessee game, so I have to be restrained until we get at least in the car. Family-friendly environment this year instead of a bar in downtown Savannah. So he'll get all 4 quarters against Tennessee because I can't slam the table and start cussing out the TV.
What's holding you back?
Look, we did a watch party for the Ole Miss game last year. That was
miserable.
It wasn't as bad as when somebody tried to fight us during the Clemson watch party.
It's like after like the first field goal of the game.
Yeah, it was
Right.
like it's 3-0 Georgia, and this dude just lost it, and I had to legitimately pick up Wes and carry him away.
If you're throwing hands that early into the season, I don't think college football is right for you.
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't. Think something else.
Well, his thing was he was wearing his Clemson ring, and he was like, "Oh, what year did you guys graduate from Georgia?" And it's like, it was me and Wes talking to him. It was like, actually, we both.
That's not how that works around here, bud.
It's like we actually both went to the military after high school, and he was like, "Oh, so
you played that card." Oh, I like that. I like that.
And then he tried to call us baby killers and storm out of the bar. And that's when I had to pick up Wes and carry him back to the table. Yeah, it was
valid crash out from Wes, honestly.
But
after that, it was great.
It was. Jameson was giving us free shots for the rest of the game. It was awesome. Anyways, we are way too many tangents in. All right, Big 12. Big 12, Connor.
America's Conference.
It is.
Love the Big 12. Flip a coin.
Yeah.
Pick a name out of a hat. Do whatever you want. I think Texas Tech. Follow the money. Follow Cody Campbell. Follow the oil money. Follow the way that they've built that team. They just overhauled their offensive and defensive line after oh my gosh, they couldn't stop anything last year. I joked on the last pod, like I think Arkansas is still running. They're still running for yards in that Liberty Bowl with how bad Texas Tech was on defense, but return a ton of production as well along with that, and feel like, man, this era of college football has told us follow the money. When teams make that big time effort, last year Ohio State, pretty extreme example of that, but when teams are willing to kind of put their money where their mouth is and make that investment and have a win now type of team, they end up getting the defensive coordinator from Houston as well. I just think that makes a lot of sense for Houston. Or for Texas Tech. I almost pulled the trigger on Arizona State repeating because kind of similar to Boise State, where you think, all right, well, Boise State lost Ashton Genty, Arizona State lost Cam Scatterboo, but they're still top 3 in the country in percentage of returning production. And obviously, like I love Jordan Tyson as well. I'm just all in on Kenny Dillingham. Would not rule that out. Think that's very much in play. But I just think Texas Tech has a little bit more in the trenches, and that's a differentiator in that league where that talent is not necessarily at that elite level at the line of scrimmage. And I think that's what allows Texas Tech to get over the hump. Haven't finished ranked in a season since Mike Leach left. And I think that happens this year.
Yeah, I also had Texas Tech winning the conference. I also followed the money.
Yeah.
But to the surprise of nobody, this is also the conference where I think the champion's going to be 8-4. Oh, excuse me. This is also the conference where I think the champion's going to be 8-4 and miss out on the playoffs, just because there's not really a big difference between any of these teams to me. Like some of them are slightly better than others, but I also think any of these teams could get any of these other teams on any week, which is why their commissioner said they were the deepest conference in college football. And to a degree, I understand what he's talking about. But, when you've got 0 elite teams and 0 horrible teams, how deep does that really make you? Who knows? I do have as my runner-up Kansas, just because I picked a name out of a hat, and I still kind of I'm still waiting on Jalen Daniels to break out. It's gonna
Gotta stay healthy.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're like the best 5-win team in America last year too. All the games that they won down the stretch, they were
how many
a
teams'
problem.
playoff hopes in the end of the season?
That's true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Devin Neal, he was my college fantasy league running back, and I felt very vindicated when he put up 46 points against Colorado.
Had a day.
All right, so I had Arizona State over Texas Tech, another regular season rematch over there in Dallas. But a big Sam Levitt guy. Obviously, they got the running back from Army to replace gritty, deceptively athletic King Cam Scatterboo. So there's that. They got that going for them. And then this, if anybody listening knows that what I would say about Texas Tech, I was 3 years early on Texas Tech. So they're making me look better now, I guess. But yeah, I have them losing to Arizona State.
Yeah, Mike's very first bandwagon team on the pod was Texas Tech, because every year we pick a team outside of the SEC that didn't make their conference championship that we follow. And Mike was cussing Texas Tech for 7 ways to Sunday by week
Every
4.
week in the group chat.
It was bad. It was hilarious, but it was bad.
And one of my former students just committed to Texas Tech as LaDainian Guyton. And I mean, I'm happy for him that he's going to Texas Tech. Obviously, he's getting the bag there. But I'll cheer for them once he gets there, if he gets there.
Allegedly $3 million as it's hard to say no to coming from.
I would be mad if he
coming
didn't go
from
after
Savannah.
that.
Yeah, right. All right, for my Big 12 game, I've got Arizona State over Kansas State. I do think that Kansas State's going to be better this year. Avery Johnson with a year under his belt. I think he's top end of the Big 12 as far as quarterback play goes. But I think Arizona State without Cam Scatterboo to lean on is going to air the ball out more, and Jordan Tyson is one of the top 5 returning wide receiver in college football. Big fan of him, and not to mention from the conversation we had with Matt Austin, Arizona State should have beaten Texas in the playoff.
4th and 13. Play that's going to live in Texas lore forever.
So if you go listen to the episode we did with Matt Austin, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but what I understood from what he said is that he had to explain the targeting rule to the people that made the call that it was not targeting because they forgot that lowering your head was an indicator. So he had to re-explain the rule to them after the game.
So he's saying that it was correctly called.
No, he's saying that it was targeting.
Oh, he's saying that it was targeting.
That's what I took away from what he said.
Definitely could have been called.
Yeah.
Definitely could have been called.
And if there's anybody that I trust with that call was incorrect, it's Matt Austin. So,
Michael Taft, big time hitter, plays the game like it's 1995.
Michael Taft, also known as the human targeting machine. Half of his hits could be called targeting.
Yeah.
And
He's gritty. He's a former walk-on. That's how he's got to make the team.
yeah, except for Dan Jackson had the exact same type of hits in that game against Texas and actually got called for targeting.
Why'd you make that count?
What?
What are the similarities between those two guys?
I'll say it. They're white and walk-ons.
Oh, I wasn't going there.
Yeah, just gritty, deceptively athletic.
I think are they both I think they're both Tauruses. That's their sign. That's what I was going for. But yeah, that's fine.
No, similar except for, in a Texas game where they got a call reversed by throwing trash onto the field. The call went against Georgia and for Texas. It just, Texas, we all know they've kind of gotten whatever they wanted in the SEC so far, except for beating Georgia.
This is true. Look, how much would Texas be dominating the Big 12 right now if we're still in that conference? And maybe the dynamics are different because they're not adding the teams that they added. So that maybe that's a tough question to answer. But with what Texas did in 23, and people forget how much they dominated Oklahoma State in that Big 12 championship when it would have just been the most classic Texas thing ever to lay an egg. And instead, Quinn Ewers puts together one of the best games of his career. And it was really the last moment that Oklahoma State was relevant under Mike Gundy. Who knows they'll be relevant this year. But there were a lot of people that had not been willing to give Texas the benefit of the doubt going into that season. And ever since then, it's been like, oh, well, gosh, they're kind of just a juggernaut. And they wouldn't fit in with today's Big 12. I like that they're not in today's Big 12 and that the Big 12 is America's conference. It is the college football purist conference. I love me some Noah Fafita. I hope he has a resurgence this year and we can watch Arizona doing dumb things at 10:30 on a Saturday night. Like that's the kind of Big 12 world I want to live in.
Yeah, and if Texas was in this Big 12 and they pretty much ran through everybody with the big talent disparity that they have, we get to the playoff and they would be underestimated. Because it'd be like, who did they play? They had that a little bit last year with the easier SEC schedule, but they still played Georgia tight. And, when I'm talking about that specific game, I'm going to trash talk Texas, but they were still a great team last year. Like, did they have the easiest schedule in the SEC? Arguably.
Yeah.
Were they still a good team? Yes.
Both things can be true.
Yes. Yep. Big Ten. While we're talking about easy SEC schedules, Big Ten. Connor, you want to go?
I don't think I'm a Big Ten defender at this point.
No.
Do I come off as that?
No.
I know we're just asking for your pick.
Because you have roasted Indiana more than anyone I know.
Russillo is probably number one on that list, but
I quit paying attention to most of the ESPN talk.
He's not a football guy.
He's on ESPN. Sorry. He's on ESPN. He's ringer, so different. But yeah, I get like there has been a pushback, and Big Ten fans have sort of rallied around Indiana as this sort of embodiment of like, hey, the SEC's getting away with this. What nobody's talking about is that the last 15 years, while the Big Ten was at the forefront of the TV rights era, the Big Ten has literally copied everything the SEC has done. It's just been about 5 years later. And finally, the Big Ten is getting to this place, and James Franklin was the one who came out and said it at Big Ten Media Days of, guys, the dumbest thing we did was go to a 9-game conference schedule. We should be playing 8 conference games. Yes, go to the 8-game conference schedule. There's nothing stopping you from doing that, but you want money, and that's why you don't do that. And then that's why you have people like Kurt Cignetti who get up there and are like, we started scheduling like an SEC team. It's like, That's not what you should have said. That's
Yeah.
not nobody wants to hear that from you. You're not the right person. It's like when Matt Rule is talking about how many automatic bids the Big Ten should get last year. Dude, you're not the person that anybody wants to hear from with that discussion. You just got to Nebraska. Like, shut up and actually beat a top 25 team and end that streak of 27 consecutive losses. They beat top 25 teams. Then talk to me. So when Kurt Cignetti gets up there and he talks about this, and I'm like, oh God, my school's gonna get dragged. My school's just gonna get dragged. Indiana is not my pick to win the Big Ten.
Fair.
Penn State is not my pick to win the Big Ten because James Franklin, big game James, 4-20 against AP top 10 teams. I think I've said that stat every day this offseason.
So while you're on Penn State, because I was going to give up my time to ask this question, but you brought it up. Is there a rational argument for Penn State to be good this year? They have the best returning running back duo in college football, far and away.
For sure.
But what else do they have?
They're going to be good on defense. They'll be really good on defense. Tom Allen going there is going to be able to or not Tom Allen, Jim Knowles, by the way. I'm mixing up Tom Allen and Jim Knowles, the coordinator triangle, how that all worked out. Jim Knowles will do great things, no doubt about it. Their argument for why they will be really good is because James Franklin's like 36-2 as a favorite the last 3 seasons. I mean, they will beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And the only team on that schedule that they're not supposed to beat is Ohio State and then Oregon. They have Oregon in the regular season, right? I think they do. Yeah, they have Oregon at home. Yeah. So can they be a 10-2 team that gets into the playoff? Yeah, absolutely. Are they going to find weapons at receiver? I know like Pena, the guy that they got from Syracuse, but they lost their best player on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball. Their best wins, we're talking about like beating a second place ACC team and beating a Mountain West team. I mean, like, cool. Like, you didn't turn the corner last year. I'm just so not in on the Penn State's preseason number 1. Buddy, based on what? 13 consecutive losses to top 5 teams. Haven't beat a top 5 team since 2016. Like, what are we doing here? So no, Penn State's not my pick. Oregon. I'm a Dan Lanning believer. Georgia built him. That's just what I'm going to keep saying. I think Dante Moore's going to be fun.
I still give that to the original tree.
He doesn't get grouped into that, right? Like Glenn Schumann gets to be part of the original tree, but Dan Lanning doesn't.
No, I was saying Dan Lanning was already a really good defensive coordinator before he came to Georgia. He just got better.
True. Okay. True.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. No, like he was good, but he got polished at Georgia into the recruiter and the play caller and everything that he is. He just went from a mostly assembled car that you buy on Facebook Marketplace to a running and driving sports car, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think he's earned a bit of blind faith, and that's kind of what you have to have with him. I think Will Stein is one of the best assistants in all of college football. What he's done so far with Bo Nix and Dylan Gabriel is remarkable. And I think Dante Moore is next. I think even if they're dealing with a couple of issues right now, depth-wise in camp, like Evan Stewart's going to be awesome in that offense as long as he can be healthy. I'm an Oregon believer, so I'll pick Oregon to win the Big Ten.
Okay. I've got Ohio State beating Oregon in the championship game, a traditional Big Ten championship battle of 2 teams that Penn State lost to in the regular season.
Of course.
Yeah, and I could have gone either way with that. I knew those were the 2 teams I wanted in it. I could have picked either way. Part of me just wanted to be a contrarian because I knew the other 2 were going to pick Oregon. But the other part of me is, is a big believer in Ohio State this year, as much as it pains me to say that. I don't think they repeat necessarily because I don't know if anyone's going to with this new format, but I think they make a heck of a run, and it's hard to bet against it right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, I do have Oregon over Ohio State. Like you guys were talking about before, Oregon's only true test in conference is at Penn State, and believe it or not, it is a night whiteout in Happy Valley, which is crazy. I can't believe
Fox didn't ruin college football another week.
This is on the Cock and NBC, so.
I don't care what I have to watch it on. As long as Fox isn't doing their best to ruin college football again.
Right. And then I do have Ohio going 11-1, but of course they're gonna lose for the 5th year in a row to Michigan because
I had the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't pick against it. So
I also have Oregon over Ohio State, and look, I I think I actually, while Connor may have more stats to dislike James Franklin and Penn State, I think I openly talk more actual shit about Penn State, and I'm proud of
I
it
tried pretty
because,
hard. I don't know.
well,
yeah.
yeah, the thing is, you're respectful with it. Like I just straight up, I asked on Instagram, can someone explain to me how Drew Aller is supposed to be good? And no one has been able to do it. I just there were two times in crunch time against legitimate opponents last year where Drew Aller was asked, "Go win this game,
Do something.
do something,
There you go.
if you will."
Tomahawk chop.
Yeah.
And Drew Aller had 4 tries from the 3 to beat Ohio State, lost yards.
How many targets did Tyler Warren get on that?
It was 0, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You want to throw that guy.
And then when Drew Aller finally had a legitimately good game against a good opponent in that Notre Dame game, came down to, hey, Drew, we need you to go score points in a short period of time. You're going to have to use your arm instead of Nick Singleton to score points here. And what did he do the last play of Penn State season? It was an interception where the receiver was not close to where the pass was thrown. Drew Aller's not good.
He's fine. He's very much overhyped. He's very much overhyped.
Yes. And I wanted to say Ohio State was going to win this just so, when they're not or when they don't, I can talk trash about Ohio State because I can say I believed in them. And then my tattoo artist is moving to Ohio at the end of next week. So everything about Ohio can go to hell. Oregon's beating Ohio State. And it's going to be almost as embarrassing as when Will Howard, as a 5th-year senior, slid to end the game.
Made up for it.
He did.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, that is a fair statement. But that's still real embarrassing. And anybody talks about Ohio State's regular season, it's going to be that Ohio State lost to Michigan again. Michigan that barely made a bowl game. And Will Howard, as a 5th-year senior, slid to lose the game at Oregon.
We're kind of burying the lead here. If you're picking Ohio State to get to a national championship or something this year, you are projecting moments in which we're going to be watching NBC or Big Noon or something like that, or when it gets to the playoff, ESPN, TNT's got one of those games, and we're going to see just a jolly Matt Patricia. Is that what?
You know what? Yeah,
Is that going to happen?
Every time that we've talked about Ohio State, I brought up Matt Patricia and just get like violently belligerent.
As a Lions fan,
you're right. Yes.
You know it. He's got the pencil up there.
He's a rocket scientist. Oh my god.
You know what really makes me sick is I never realized. So walking around doing inspections, fire sprinkler inspector. If you listen to the show for a while, you know that. Do a lot of walking in warehouses. Like I 12,000 steps today before I got home. I wear a hat all the time. I put my Sharpie in my hat like this so I don't have to keep reaching in my pocket for it. I can't do that anymore because I refuse to be like Matt Patricia.
I think that's fair. Well, but if they win it all this year,
I may shut down the podcast and quit watching football. I just, I got a friend that just moved to Guatemala. If y'all don't see me again, head down south.
Fun town.
There you go.
I'll
be watching a lot of equestrian instead of football if that happens.
A real sport, unlike basketball.
Yeah. We're actually going to an equestrian meet this year after, got to watch the defending national champions.
How long do those go? Are they like track meets where you're just like kind of locked in for 4 hours? And I say locked in loosely, like you're just kind of forced to sit there and watch a million different events, like because there's a lot going on with equestrian, right? There's not. Yeah, it's not just as simple as one thing and then it's done.
From what I saw on TV, it's a lot like the way they do gymnastics, where they've got like one thing going on at a time, but you're looking back and forth between things as it happens.
I will say, and this is a take that I've actually been tossing around in my head for years. As someone who grew up redneck with horses, the only difference between classy and trashy is a helmet when it comes to
Yes.
horses.
Facts.
And I grew
Probably.
up
Let's take your word
trashy
for it.
with it, so I struggle to watch equestrian, even with the Olympics.
That's fair.
SEC. While we're talking about equestrian powerhouses, Connor.
I realize I've totally omitted who I have playing in conference championship games to get to this point, so that's on me. And I guess I'm saving it for the SEC for this specific reason because I have Georgia playing in an SEC championship. So I
There
just
we
stop
go.
there. Is that all? Is that all I need to say? Is that good?
I
Well,
feel
if
like
you
you
have
should
them
keep
winning
going.
it, then yeah, you're fine.
Mhm.
I've got LSU winning the SEC, winning the whole darn thing, and it being one of those years for Brian Kelly, who, by the way, 5-12 against AP top 10 teams since 2014, a little bit different than being 4-20. I know people are going to push back on that. But I have LSU winning. And like I talked about with Texas Tech, follow the money. Follow the ways that they have addressed roster needs in the portal, specifically on defense. Like Jack Pyburn, Patrick Payton, Mansour Delane coming over from Virginia Tech. Like this kid DJ Pickett, who's like 6'4", is a true freshman corner that everybody's like, this guy is next. They have Whit Weeks, obviously, and Harold Perkins Jr. coming off of injuries, but those guys, if they're actually playing the right positions, should be very good in year two of the Blake Baker defense. Like all those things, I'm Garrett Nussmeier believer. I loved the urgency with Barryon Brown, Nick Anderson in the portal. And I just think they weren't that far away last year. Now they got smacked by Bama, obviously, and that was a game against Florida that a few plays here or there, probably a different ball game, but I think LSU is built for this. I really do. And I had that predicted before I watched Whit Weeks say on any given Saturday, man, if you come back, we're winning a national championship. That was a really bad Whit Weeks imitation. I apologize to your listeners for that.
No,
But
you don't have to apologize. He's from Athens and chose to leave. He can be disrespected on these airwaves.
all of them chose to leave. They're all there this year. They got 3 Weekses on LSU's roster this
They
year.
are absolutely allowed to be disrespected on these airwaves.
Okay. I'm respecting them because I'm saying that they're going to win the SEC this year. Revenge for 22. LSU and Georgia, both 11-1 in the regular season. And then Georgia still gets a first round bye because the rule changed for the playoff. So they end up losing the SEC championship, but it's one of those things where they're kind of already locked in and they end up getting a 3 seed. And so Georgia fans are like, yeah, it's a bummer, but whatever. Been here 8 of the last 9 years. Winning an SEC championship last year didn't mean anything for the playoffs. So, and if they still get a bye, that's all that really matters. But yeah, I just think nobody's getting in the way of LSU this year.
So
Look, all I heard was Connor O'Gara thinks Georgia's going 7-5. That's all
Yeah.
that's all that came into my ear.
Okay, so you guys know do you guys know
Yeah.
like the full backstory of that?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
We still perpetuate the joke.
Yeah.
The myth. Yes.
Savannah native Nolan Smith,
Yep.
Yes.
who said that very thing, just trying to get the lads fired up. It worked.
Yeah. Hey.
I do have a question about LSU, and this is, I think I've been more vocal than most LSU fans about how they should have shown up with torches and pitchforks to Matt House's residence after they threw away Jaden Daniels' career.
They did, I think. That happened.
I hope
Like it was
did.
ugly.
I really hope he had to get like a police escort out of his house because huge fan of Jaden Daniels, and it's Matt House's fault that they did not win a national with a mid-minus defense. Jaden Daniels could have taken them to a national title.
Yeah.
And he didn't. So what? Like I know Blake Baker, love what he did with Mizzou, love what he improved the LSU defense. But how is he going to take a quarterback that's not Jaden Daniels? And I think the offense in general is not as good as that Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbor, Brian Thomas Jr. offense.
I would agree with that.
How is he going to improve the defense enough for them to beat everybody on their schedule and win a national title? That's the only reason I don't have LSU winning it all this year. It's truly, I've got to see the defense do it. and they haven't in 6 years.
Top 10 offense, top 30 defense. That's kind of that's like a little bit Ken Palm college basketball ish. I know we talk about that a lot that time of year of like the certain metrics you have to be under for efficiency. But if LSU is a top 10 offense, which I think is very much in play, there's a part
Right.
of me that the first time that Garrett Nussmeier gets sacked and he's like, oh crap, I don't have my 3 year starting tackles that are, anchoring this offensive line. Like there's going to be a part of me like, oh boy, this could be ugly. But they have a lot of experience in the interior of their offensive line. They should be able to run the ball a lot with Caden Durham. Harlan Bailey's a true freshman that they're really excited about. Like the receiver room is going to be nasty too, and not as NFL talented as the Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. group was. Mason Taylor as well, best LSU tight end ever. But Aaron Anderson's awesome. Like Nick Anderson, if he stays healthy, is going to be so good. Is a downfield threat for them. So yeah, I just like those are the two things I'd like to see: top 10 offense, and then a top 30 defense, and just be opportunistic enough. Like you don't have to be perfect in this day and age, and I think they can get away with being like that 11-1 team that just catches fire at the exact right time.
All right.
I like that you said catches fire at the exact right time, because I have LSU in my SEC championship game pretty much for the right reason. I'm a big respecter of Garrett Nussmeier and have been since that 2022 game where he came in after Jaden Daniels got dirty dancing a little bit.
Yep.
And obviously it was too late by then, but he put on a show. And so I think there's a good chance he does that again throughout the year. And they kind of end up like LSU did in 2022, where they won the right games to get there. I guess that's what it always is, but you know what I mean? Like they don't necessarily look like the best team all year, but they do it often enough to get there. I do think Georgia beats them just because I'm high on the hopium for Georgia right now. Everything I'm hearing out of fall camp is telling me like either this is going to be an improvement over last year, and we, have a solid 10-2 season and make the playoff and can hold our head up high with that, or it's going to be the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not sure where I land right now. So we talked about on the podcast a couple weeks ago that I've got Georgia going 11-1 because I cannot, in good conscience, pick them to beat Alabama right now. But I do think they beat LSU in the SEC championship, in part because I'm a massive homer.
Yeah, I mean, same for me. I have Georgia over LSU as well. I'm not going to go super in depth with that, but LSU is going to have the tiebreaker over Oklahoma and moneyline material. So that's going to leave it there. They're both going to be 11-1.
Moneyline material. That's good.
I was cooking with the one-liners today.
That was good.
Yeah.
Mike, with your prediction, do we at least get Christian Miller holding up, busting us like Jay?
God, I hope so.
Yes, please.
If history's going to repeat itself, isn't Elijah Griffin the guy?
Yeah, my boy.
He's got to do it.
Another Savannah guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say another Savannah boy. But yeah, I don't know if we've said this with you, but on our podcast, it's not Nuss Bus, it's Bussin' Us, just for the name of it. We just anytime we can get a borderline name in, we're doing it. Just
yeah.
I don't like Nussbus as a nickname. Yeah. I've hated it ever since we heard it. Like I asked T-Bob if we could change it. Yeah. And it's like there's nothing else kind of really stuck. And it's like, if you're a fan, you're on the Nussbus. All right. But I don't know.
You can
I'd rather
lead
call
the
him
charge
Garrett.
for busting us in the national media.
First time I say that on Fine Bomb, he gets. Hell, did you say?
Be the last time you go.
Immediately viral.
Yeah. That reaction is what's going to make it.
Oh, God. And we're going to a break.
Right after he talks again about how Arch Manning is going to be the best quarterback we've seen in 5 generations.
Right? Paul's not just sipping the Kool-Aid. He's chugging it, man.
I know. I feel bad for Arch. Not to get on a tangent, but the expectations that have been heaped on him. And he's just trying to be like, guys, let me go out there and play the game. And everybody's just trying to crown him as the Heisman winner already.
Arch seems like a really good dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm basing that on 25 minutes of sitting in front of him, but I came away from it being like, I think he gets it. I think he's the one who's saying, guys, I've only started 2 games. Heisman stuff is ridiculous. I've put myself in a position where I feel like I'm ready and I'm confident and I feel good about that. But all that other stuff is just kind of insane. I don't know. Like I thought he came across really well, and it's interesting though because Texas preseason #1 team for the first time ever in the AP poll, and I don't know how popular of a pick Texas is to win the SEC, even though they're the favorite there. They're the favorite to win the national championship. But like, I haven't heard a lot of people with SEC picks that I know that picked them to win the conference, even though they ended up being the pick to win the conference in media days.
I have Texas losing to Georgia in the SEC championship game for the reason mainly I don't trust LSU's defense yet. And I know everybody else does. I need to see something other than what we've seen for the last 5 years. And I need to see it with my eyes. I love Harold Perkins. I love Whit Weeks. I think they have drastically improved their secondary. They have the pieces to do it. You can lay out 100 pieces up on the table, and that don't make a puzzle. Like it's not a finished product until it gets put together and you look at it. And we have seen like 4 pieces put together out of that 100 so far. So, not sold on LSU. I could be sold on LSU. I'm like sitting down at the dealership chair talking numbers. But until then, Texas did it last year. Their schedule is still relatively easy. Some of the teams on it are better. Like I think Mississippi State with Blake Shapen is better than Mississippi State with former president Michael Van Buren.
Yes, he is.
I think playing Florida in the swamp in September when Austin is not humid, late September, early October. I don't remember.
October 4th. October 4th.
Yeah, so early October. Connor, you know this. Central Florida in early October is still extremely humid and hot and miserable. I've been to Austin in early October, and it was like 85 with 10% humidity. It's pleasant.
Different heat, man. Different heat. For media days last year in Dallas, I was thinking to myself, oh, there's no way I'm going to make a 0.8 mile walk from our Airbnb to media days in downtown Dallas. Like I'll be sweating buckets. This is middle of July. Not a drop of sweat. It's so different.
Dry
it's
is
weird.
so much easier. And last time I was in Austin, it was for Two Step In a few years ago. And there was somebody from Utah that came down for Two Step In. Like, oh, it's so humid here. And I was like, girl, I just drove from Savannah where you swim through the air. What are you talking about? It's humid in Austin. It's like, this weather is what we dream for. But I still have Texas losing to Florida and losing to A&M. And I will say they're going to lose to A&M every year until they do. Something in my soul has, it's probably because I went to a senior military college like Texas A&M is. I
was going to say, are you a yell leader?
No. I went to, I can't say that many derogatory things about A&M on public airwaves. But I went to a senior military college where we were an hour from Athens, and our campus was still 75% female. So, like, we had fun, and we were not a cult. So, anyways, I think A&M's going to beat them this year just because I don't like Texas and Bevo.
So you have a 3-loss in conference team.
2-loss.
Florida,
Texas A&M. So you have Texas beating Georgia regular season?
Nope, that is 3 losses. Anyways, still going with Texas.
5-3 in the SEC championship. What a year! Beating Ohio State, though, I would imagine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a wild year.
Yeah. Real high highs, real low lows, and then
sounds like Texas, to be honest.
0-4 against the University of Georgia, and what's left of Steve Sarkisian's hair falls out, and we can see that spray tan line.
He's doing all right.
Look, if I could be a sleazy injury attorney that got lost in the film room and make as much money as him, I would love to do it.
Sark is a wizard, man.
He's a genius. That's why I think he's an attorney that got lost in the film room.
And just learned how to call an offense from that.
Because boy, look up just in your free time. Look up Jamie Casino, and I've said this on the podcast so much recently. Jamie
Yeah.
Casino, injury attorney, Savannah, because there's an ad he does at our local minor league hockey team. Like he does the promotion for the penalty box, and the first time I saw it, I legitimately thought Sark was on the jumbotron. Like I was really confused, but
What a turn that would be. Hey, you know, like 2018, 2019, couldn't have ruled it out, I guess.
hey, the
But
Savannah
you
Ghost
know,
Pirates are a hell of a franchise.
wait a minute. So let me back up here. You have Texas getting into the SEC championship, 5-3 in SEC play. That means you have Florida, A&M. Florida and A&M would both have to be 4-4 in conference play then.
Oh yeah, I'm not a believer in Marcel Reed, and I don't think DJ Lagway
Okay.
has the ability to stay healthy all season.
Yeah.
I just think that
Okay.
there's enough hate in their hearts to beat Texas.
In Austin.
Yes.
All
And
right.
then obviously DJ Lagway, I think they lose that game in the swamp because of how many injuries they have where they have to take a timeout and they run out of time at the end of the game.
Golly, man. Like it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild to see, like, on a more serious note. It's like, oh wait, Dallas Wilson, he's out today. Oh, Trey Wilson, he's being held out. Oh, like I saw earlier today, Caleb Banks is banged up and he's going, like, so are there just all their good players out of fall camp? Are they just not practicing any of their good players? Because put them in bubble wrap at this point, because buddy, you've got a gauntlet that you got to get through still. And we're sitting here in the middle of August.
We have said on this podcast, Florida is an injury away from going 6-6, and it's not just DJ Lagway. It's just about anybody.
I will
If Jake
in
Slaughter
defense of
goes
Florida.
down in week 1 for 6 weeks.
That's the one.
Or if their only receiver that can get separation goes down, or if their defensive lineman that can actually run stop, because that was one of their big problems last year. It doesn't even have to be one injury that's long term. It can be one big injury per game where the guy's back the next week. Like I think they have the highest ceiling and the lowest floor in the SEC this year.
I don't know that their ceiling is beyond 9-3. I don't know that it's above that, but their floor is obviously low because of Lagway and I don't know how Harrison Bailey still has eligibility, but he's the backup there. And God bless him, but that's not what they drew up. I mean, like, they wanted Deshaun Purdy out of Charlotte, who did like really good things last year, and then he ends up being like, wait a minute, I thought I was going to start. Like, buddy, did you Google DJ Lagway before you got here? Like,
Yeah.
what did you think you were signing up for? That whole situation was weird. He ends up at Wake Forest. And I think that there is still a belief that Florida's floor with a healthy Lagway is good because they finally have guys in the line of scrimmage. Like, they have 4 guys, 2 on the offensive line, 2 on the defensive line, that are being mocked as first round guys right now, which they have not had that. They haven't had that since like the Muschamp era. So I do think that there is a part of me that says, like, they're going to be able to do things even if Lagway is limited within the confines of the offense. But I do think that their floor with him, like, if he goes down, every Florida fan knows it. It's over. It's over for Lagway. It's over for Napier.
I was about to
And
say if
Yeah.
DJ goes down, Billy's putting his house on the market. Like mid game, calling his real estate agent, like, hey, let's go ahead and make some arrangements.
he only still has a job because of Lagway.
Yeah.
And he's only going to keep a job because of Lagway. So at this point, yeah.
Recently, I mean, we did a whole episode recently on Florida because of how we're all sold on if everyone stays healthy, they have the guys to do it. Do they have the coaches to win the games that are going to be close and tight against good opponents? I think the jury's still out on some of their coaching staff. But this is the first
agree with that.
time. This is the first time since 2020 they've had the players to actually make some waves.
They didn't have the defense in 2020 because they had Todd Grantham. You guys
You
know.
know very
Preaching
well.
to the choir
Yeah.
over here.
You get it.
No, I mean, while we are a Georgia podcast, we are absolutely not disrespecting Florida this year. Like we all think they're very good. We all think, but at the same time, like we said, the one injury from disaster.
How stunning would it be if one of the 4 contenders this is something I just talked about on the show. Like the panic of if one of the four contenders missed the playoff, not just like missed the SEC championship, but if Alabama, LSU, Georgia, or Texas, if one of those teams missed the playoff, like let's keep it to Georgia here, what would be the panic if, because Georgia would with that schedule probably have to be 8-4 to get left out of the playoff if we're being totally honest. Probably gonna be able to still make it a 9-3. Like an 8-4. Oh my God, Gunnar Stockton was not Stetson Bennett the fifth. He was,
Brock Vandagriff,
DeJuan Mathis. Yeah, Brock Vandagriff. Pick your Georgia quarterback that didn't work out. Like one of those guys. Like what is the panic level? And wondering, is Kirby doing right now what Dabo did at the start of the 2020s?
I'm going to say no. I'm not. I don't have that train of thought because we've seen it with Kirby's hires in the past of when he gets slapped in the face, he immediately corrects course back to like
True.
James Coley to Todd Monken. Like that's the best coordinator hire of the playoff era, in my opinion.
Easily.
And so, like, did he potentially veer back towards mediocre with the offense with the Bobo hire? The three of us are still not sold that Bobo's not a good offensive coordinator. I know the national perspective is that he's not great, but he had Carson Beck. That I will go back to that again. In the year that Carson Beck had Brock and Ladd, they were both out half of the season, in which they still went undefeated and made it to the SEC championship game. Still was not a bad offense. It just couldn't beat Bama when the commissioner knew that Saban was going to retire. Okay. Who among us?
Right.
Connor, I love my conspiracies.
I'm here for all of them. I am. When Bobo dialed up the bubble screen,
Which
when
one?
they're down 2 scores. Yeah, which one? All of them. When they're down 2 scores late against Notre Dame and they've got like 70 yards to go. Yeah. And he's dialing up bubble screens. That would be the moment where I'm like, I think I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
If the bubble screens had been consistently getting, upwards of 9 yards like they have in the past when we had some better talent catching those bubble screens, then I would be fine with it. To continue to go with it when that's not happening is, I think, the problem we all have.
And I, as someone who was sitting in the crowd almost getting arrested in New Orleans that night, I came on these airwaves and yelled at Mike Bobo for a solid 20 minutes because you have a quarterback, and granted, he's really your only option left. This is your only game left. You don't win it. So why do you have a quarterback who broke Trevor Lawrence's high school records in the state of Georgia and say, you know what? We know you're mobile. We know you like to move outside the pocket. Don't move. Stand here and throw frozen ropes at wide receivers who lead the country in the most drop passes this year. Like, the game plan going into that game offensively was absolutely atrocious. And I yelled, quite literally, I think I lost my voice, like, at the game and then after the recording of that episode because I just yelled I was mad. But
with a bad offensive line, too.
Right.
Yeah,
bad offensive line, wide receivers couldn't catch passes, and you took Carson's game plan and moved it to Gunner, which was idiotic. But
with 3 weeks to prepare.
Yes.
Right.
Like I said, I'm giving him September. If at the end of September, I don't think that he has adapted to Gunner's skill set. And if you've listened to the show for a while, I say this all the time. Gunnar Stockton's private quarterback coach all throughout middle school and high school was Mike Bobo's dad. Gunnar Stockton and Mike Bobo have known each other since before Gunnar was able to drive, before he was able to do anything. Before he had armpit hair, he knew Mike Bobo.
Before he was losing his hair like Brock Bowers.
Yes.
Kind of greatness.
Yes. You got a winner.
But, so how do you know a guy for a decade before he gets to college in the biggest game that either of you have played in, you have a terrible game plan? I hate that. I'm still mad about that. and that sour taste in my mouth is why, of the three of us that do the show regularly, I'm the pessimist. That's why today is the first day of the off season. I've been excited for football because I'm mad. I spent a lot of money to go to New Orleans last year to watch that dog shit that we saw in the prison complex that is the Superdome. But if you go, like, the field, it's cool. Once you go out to get concessions, if you've ever been in a prison, like, you go 50 feet and you have to turn, and you go 50 feet and then turn, and that's how the entire concourse is run around the Superdome. I have a lot of experiences a lot of people don't. But yeah, no, I'm tentative on Bobo, but I'm sold on Gunner. And I don't remember where we were before I got on that long
I
tangent.
think we were moving to the wrap up. We just finished talking about the SEC. We already did Group of 5.
Yes. Okay. Connor, thank you once again for coming on and talking to us. This is how we know that the season is about to start. We get you on the show, and I'm pretty sure I've done this every year that we have talked to you. Thank you for the early days. Nobody would talk to us until you sent me some contact information. I never got a response until I said, hey, Connor from SDS sent me over, and you're the reason that we got most of our guests in the first year, and I've really kept going was you hooking us up with the right people, and I'll never be able to thank you enough for that, but it's always a great time to have you on.
Appreciate you saying that. I feel bad for not having the Louisville hookup. I'll be honest. That was the one where I was like, oh, I got nothing there, man. I got Kentucky, not Louisville.
We skipped Louisville and went to Florida. That's how we had the Florida episode. So never a bad thing.
Look, anybody that's within the SEC footprint, I could pretty much get you covered. A lot of teams outside of it. I got you for Kentucky. Kentucky's that's an easy one.
We've always had one and done guests for Kentucky. Like we had John Clay, writes for the newspaper up there.
Just retired too.
Oh yeah.
We had Cash at one point.
Love Cash.
Yeah.
But all of our Kentucky contacts have been one and done. So we need another one this year.
All right. I'll get you hooked up there. That won't be an issue. But yeah, anytime. Just reach out. Appreciate you guys having me.
Awesome. Thanks again. We're going to close up on some stuff, but we appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Connor.
Thank you, fellas.
All right, guys, we're going to thank Connor once again for coming on and talking to us. This is probably the longest episode that we've had in quite literally
in a minute.
It's
a Sugar Bowl recap, right?
Man,
probably.
I got on way too much of a tangent. Connor knows.
Dude, clouds are cool, man.
Connor knows how to hit these little like weak spots in my armor of talking shit on the podcast and just things that I go off about unintentionally. None of that was written down. Like I have too many thoughts for my brain. But y'all show up, hang out with us at Brock House in a month from yesterday. So it'll be a month from 2 days ago for y'all listening to this. That is September 13th, Georgia at Tennessee, 3:30. We're going to be at the Rock House starting at 2:30, hanging out, drinking, drink specials, 50-50 raffle. We're going to have some merch. We are slightly rebranding. We might have some koozies, potentially some stickers to go along with the new logo and stuff we're going to be rolling out here soon. We are super excited. But the best way to keep up with all of that information is on our social media, which is at nothing.finer.pod on Instagram, at finerpod on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Just look us up. You will find us there. Follow Kaleb on Instagram, Dog Sports Memes, always posting the best stuff. He's had 100 best moments or plays of Georgia history, counting down to the season.
Yeah, it's moments. Some of them are plays, some of them are full games, but yes.
So that'll be tough to follow up next year. I don't know what you're going to do with that.
I've got a whole Excel spreadsheet of what I'm going to do to follow up next year. And that's going to help me figure that out.
There you go.
Perfect. But as far as memes go, Kaleb's got the best Georgia memes and reels, and honestly, most of like I'm the crazy idea guy, and I'll send something to Caleb, and I'll be like, "Hey, this doesn't make any sense, but you know what I'm saying," and then we get it. Like the college football god videos we did
Yeah.
last summer were like it probably took a whole 4 paragraphs for me to explain what I was trying to think of there, but between the three of us, we'll get it figured out. But we get to try this one more time before the season starts. As always, remember there is nothing finer in the land.
And a drunk,
Wow.
obnoxious Georgia fan.
Look at that cloud.